I want to make a little video thanking Rebecca Watson, but I know that if I use that name, that you get all kinds of flack attached to it. So what I would like you to do, if you bear with me, is just imagine this is a video by Some Grey Bloke. If you don't know Some Grey Bloke, it's got a fantastic channel, does brilliant animations, and they're always really kind of well, they take on really interesting concerns. Actually, they're funny and they're intelligent, but they also deal with issues in a way which makes them more palatable. So if you can imagine this being one of Some Grey Bloke's videos, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. So you have to kind of imagine me as a two-dimensional, even more two-dimensional than I already am, but grey, and talking with his voice like Graham does in the videos, like this. Okay. And the story that Some Grey Bloke would tell is this one. He would say something to the effect that he used to go to lots of conferences, because I did used to go to a lot of conferences. I don't go to very many now. But I used to go 3 or 4 a year, usually as a presenter, sometimes as a delegate. You know, I'd do papers, get involved in conversation, all that kind of stuff. And of course, you know, if it's a conference that spans over a couple of days, there's all kinds of social events. There's usually what they call a banquet, which is usually just a meal. But there might also be trips out if it's in a particularly interesting location, or there'll be, you know, opportunities to go to the pub or to the bar, that kind of thing. And they're great, you know, very entertaining. But having said that, I'm not great in social situations personally, particularly large crowds of people, and you know, I get very self-conscious. I get a bit, make mistakes. You know, I do make stupid mistakes. It's true. I say the wrong thing. I'm not very good at reading people. So you know, so whilst I enjoy it, I do often make kind of social faux pas, which I have to apologise for. So that's just the way it is, really. And had I been at that conference about a year ago, the one that Rebecca Watson was at, and Richard Dawkins and a few other people, and had I been in the elevator at 4 o'clock in the morning with Rebecca Watson, I could easily imagine myself saying, do you want to come back to my room for coffee? Easily. You know, that's exactly the kind of stupid thing I would do. And if I'm brutally honest, I probably wouldn't have just meant coffee. It probably would have been a proposition, albeit one that's got a lot of plausible deniability attached to it. Because that's the kind of stupid thing that I've done. I mean, I can't remember doing the exact thing, but I've certainly done lots of stupid things like that. So yeah, I could easily do that. So the reason why I'm saying thank you to Rebecca Watson, again, imagine me as Some Grey Bloke, is because now I know not to do that. Because she said very clearly, guys, don't do that. That sounds like good advice. Oh, okay. Now I know not to do that. I kind of wish she'd said what I should do. You know, maybe if she'd said, guys, Fred, don't do that. If you want to invite me for coffee, come to me the following day, maybe 10:30 in the morning, something like that, during a break between sessions, and say, do you want to grab a cup of coffee at lunchtime, and we'll and chat about what your paper was about. I'd be interested to talk to you more about that. Or you could even proposition me, she might have said, Fred, talk to me during the day in a public place and there's lots of people about. Say, you know, I think you're a really attractive, interesting person. I'm personally attracted to you. I'd like to get to know you better. We'd like to go for a cup of coffee and see how we get on. I'm not suggesting for one moment that Rebecca Watson would say that. But I'm still grateful, even for the solid advice that she did give. I will promise that I will never ask a woman back to my room for coffee at 4 o'clock in the morning in an elevator. But I might have done if I hadn't been told it was the wrong thing to do. Anyway, thanks very much. Thanks, Rebecca. Bye.